The ball was up in the air. Mr. Chris Coon himself rebounded the ball and passed it ahead to Alex, the guy from New Mexico. As Alex took off up the court, JT, Vaughn, and I rushed down to see if we can get an easy bucket. Alex passed it up to Vaughn, and as he went up for a layup, got blocked. The ball was up in the air, and I leaped for the ball, and as I watched it come towards me, a guy that was 4 inches taller than me from the other team got the ball instead. As I landed, I felt a piercing crack in my foot. We somehow got the ball back, and another shot was put up by Alex Garcia, the guy from New Mexico. The ball rimmed in and out, and somehow I was the only one near the basket to get the rebound. When I got the ball, I was pretty much alone under the basket with the closest defenders about 3 feet away from me, but I couldn't go up with it. I dribbled out, and as I continued to feel the same pain of the crack in my foot, I knew something was wrong. Before I could try and dribble the ball out, the ref saw the pain I was in right away and blew his whistle to get me off the court. I went straight to the bench. I knew something was off. Coach Jason started asking me questions about the type of pain I was in and where it was. The trainers wrapped ice around my foot, and I was sidelined for the rest of the game. Fast forwarding to after the game, the drive back home to see a doctor was the worst. Every bump we went over hurt, every dent in the road we went over hurt. The unknown about my foot hurt my head, wondering what will be the diagnosis. I felt this kind of pain in my other foot in the same area, but not to the same magnitude. Not to the same feeling of knowing that it's more than just a minor injury. A sharp pain that was felt every time I stepped on it. The doctor told me I had a 5th metatarsal fracture, a bone on the outside of my left foot. It would be about 3 weeks in a cast and about 2 to 3 weeks in a boot after. I would miss most of my senior season. Throughout the first week of being in a cast, everything wasn't so bad. Not that I took advantage of it all, but people were doing things for me when I didn't even ask. Chi was being nice to me, and people were having fun trying to use the crutches when most of them didn't realize that the crutches were too tall for him to use. Everything was all right until we played Lennox Academy on January 5th, about a week after I broke my foot. As my mom and I were going through traffic to get to the gym, it occurred to me that this was going to be the first game I would not play for my high school career. Lennox ended up not showing up that night, so technically no one played that game. People couldn't tell that, but all I could think about was not being out there with my team. I started having questions pop up in my head. Was I going to lose the connection I had with my team on the court? How much weight am I going to gain? How much muscle am I going to lose? I had worked so hard in the offseason to be in the best shape possible for the upcoming season, and this is how it ends up. A broken foot. All the thoughts that came to my head were negative. That whole night, the only thing I could think of was why me and why now. I thought about how it takes me 4 seconds to get up one step. I thought about how I have to take baths with my foot sticking out of the tub rather than a shower. That next morning, we had a team workout at Oak Street that was supposed to be focused on shooting. As I watched from the sidelines, I tried giving motivation and tips to teammates who were struggling with their shot. I felt so distant from the team and didn't feel like I was doing much to help. It felt so weird just sitting, watching, and constantly yelling at JT and Brandon Clay. I wanted to do something active, but there's not much to do. I decided to pick up a ball that was close to me and started dribbling while sitting down. While still giving motivation to my teammates, I continued to dribble the ball and started a dribble series. It was then when I realized that I was complaining and pondering over something that was out of my control. The broken foot happened. I have no control over my foot anymore. It was then that I decided to not worry about something out of my control and worry about the things that I can control. By being salty about what happened, I spent time thinking about negative things and didn't use that time to think of ways I can come back even stronger. My dad had always told me this, but of course I didn't listen and I didn't realize that till now. Since I was going to be missing the bulk of the games in our season due to my foot, this concept was reinforced before and after every single game we played. It has motivated me to do everything I could to make sure I was set for a faster recovery. Eating right and doing any type of physical exercise I could to get some sort of blood pumping through my body. After 3 weeks of being in my initial cast, I went back to the doctors to take more x-rays on my foot. Although the bone was making good progress, he said that it was still fractured a good amount, and the doctor said I needed to put another cast on for about 2 more weeks. When I got back into the car with a new cast that had no signatures on it and no mileage on it, I started to cry. That was the first time I'd ever shed a tear about missing basketball. But of course there are manly tears, so it's okay. Using my newly learned concept, I quickly wiped off the tears and started thinking about what else I can do to help the process along. Many times in the past, I would overthink things that I had no control over. Whether it was a fight with my parents or a mistake I made at my school, far too many times I would think about what happened instead of using that time to think about ways I could help the situation. Think of what happened in the past in a positive aspect and find meaning behind what happened. Now that I look back on it, maybe I got injured to learn the lesson of patience. Or maybe it was to help build my upper body strength because the only physical exercise I can do is push-ups. Maybe I got hurt so I could have something to write about for my senior speech. Although I'm still going through it now, I have learned to once again control what I can and not think so much about the rest. Shout outs, I guess. Shout out to Mr. Marr and Mr. McCormick. Thank you for putting together such a great school. You've created a family environment here, and everyone feels safe to speak their mind and be themselves, so I appreciate that. Mr. Holloway and Mrs. Hodges, thank you for giving me confidence for my writing. Mr. Gablehouse, thank you for managing to make math fun, which is pretty impossible, but you managed to do it. Mr. Brahma, thank you for challenging me every day with the different concepts from AP Physics. Although you can stop you can stop doing the challenging stuff whenever you want because it's pretty hard. Mr. Flamini, thank you for not only teaching me about American history and American government and economics, but also the importance of perspective. You emphasize that just because someone has an opposite opinion of you doesn't make them stupid. So I thank you for that. Mr. Wilkins, thank you for always being there for me when I needed you. You were a huge part of helping me make the transition into RHP. You're one of the handsomest guys I know, so thank you for everything. Coach Katani, thank you for always believing in me. You gave all of us basketball boys a home, and through you, I've learned what working hard truly is, and I can't thank you enough. Coach Jason, or I guess some people call you Mr. Ito. Thank you for everything you do for myself and the team. You, along with Coach Katani, have given us knowledge that stretches far beyond basketball. Corey, thank you for coming today. I appreciate all that you do for the team, and it wouldn't be nearly the same without you. And thank you, Coach Negan, as well, for everything you've done for us, and I really appreciate it. Matthew Leverson, shout out to you. You're a decent guy. Tree, thanks for giving me a shout out in your speech, so here's yours. A huge shout out to the basketball team. I'm proud of all you guys. I'm glad to call you guys my second home. Although I'm hurt and sitting on the sidelines right now, I've never been more proud of you all individually and as us as a unit. We've come a long way, and I know we have some unfinished business, but thank you for being a second family. Chris Kuhn, thank you for always having my back through rough times. Just to see your growth as not only a basketball player, but as a person is amazing. I remember when we had our first practices in the summer last year, and you were neglecting all of us, and you didn't want to talk to any of us. Maybe thought you're too cool or something, I don't know. But just to see your maturation and how you're easy to talk to with anyone, I'm proud of you, and thank you for always being there for me. Cody Nohara, I can't explain how much appreciation I have for you, man. I've known you probably the longest out of everyone here, and just to see how far we've come from way back to our SUV days to almost graduating in about like 4 months. It's unbelievable how we've gotten so close, and I'm so proud of you and everything you've accomplished in and out of RHP. Alex Garcia. I would have never guessed that one of my closest friends would be from New Mexico. The dedication you put into your goals is unbelievable. You're one of the hardest workers I've ever known, and you're a great basketball player, but an even better person. Thank you for always being there for me. Shout out to my family. Thank you, Grandma, Grandpa, and my Gung, which is also Grandpa. You're my biggest fans, and thank you for always supporting me and surrounding me with unconditional love. I have 3 siblings that many of you guys don't know because they didn't come here. But the first one's Kylie, older sister who's in college. Thank you for being a leader to Christian, Kelly, and myself. Thank you for always putting us first before yourself, even if you didn't want to. Christian, thank you for being one of my best friends. Growing up, I always wanted to be like you, and I always wanted to try and emulate what you were as a person, and thank you for being the older brother that I needed and still do need. My little sister is probably going to watch this on YouTube, so I'm going to face the camera right now. Kelly, you're the youngest, and I know it's not easy coming after a stud like me, but you've managed to do a good job with it. Thank you for being a good little sister, and I enjoy getting on your nerves. And last goes to my mom and dad. Although I don't always show it, I love both of you and appreciate both of you for everything you do for me and my siblings. Although the fighting will never be endless, will be endless, and we don't always see eye to eye, I know that you two only want the best for me, and that's all I could ask for. And shout out to my crutches, because it's not easy to support someone.